one thing I'm going to be needing to do with this job is I'm going to need to swap over the electronics from the pit lane piece to the digital narrow section that we're using for our pit entry. We're using this piece because we can take it at a higher speed, and it'll make the racing a lot easier for people that aren't familiar with the system when they come to use the pits. This is the pit lane piece that we're going to swap the parts of here. This is the electronic board here. This is the solenoid that activates the lane change, and over here we have the sensor. I'm going to remove all these pieces and put them into the digital narrow section. This is the digital narrow section. It's got the same sort of components, a board, a sensor and the solenoid, although there's a lot smaller space in here because it's a lot smaller board. So once we take it all out, we might find that we might need to move things around a little bit to get everything to fit in. Here I've already removed the wires that are just clipped into the rails, and I'm just going to unscrew the solenoid here. And I've just moved the tape to take the sensor out. We should now be able to remove all of the electronics in one piece, and likewise with the narrow section. So here we've got the completed unit. I haven't screwed the cover on so that I can show you. The board from the digital narrow section is here in the pit lane piece. The solenoid is in place. The wires from the solenoid I've taped back here, and they're out of the way of this lane change bar so that they won't interfere. The sensor is taped in here, and the wires are routed down into this hollow here so that they won't raise the cover up when it's screwed on. There is a position for a screw here where I've put the board, and I'm just not going to use that screw when I put it all back together. I'll put all the other screws in apart from that one, and it'll be just like a regular lane change piece and should work perfectly. So here's the digital narrow section, and here's the board from the pit lane piece that I'm installing. I've got all the pieces where I want them. The sensors in place, the wires are routed through the hollows in here. The solenoid wires can go through this little gap here. The only thing is that the board, for it to sit here between the digital narrows piece and the single lane piece, I'm going to cut out a little bit of plastic between the two. I'm going to cut this down a little bit just so that the board can sit down in that little gap and that everything will be flush. Now that we've got our groove cut out, this board will be able to sit in there, and the covers should be able to, hopefully we can get the covers to go over it. Might need to cut a gap in those as well. One thing you need to check when you finish is that you've got power to the rails that come off here. So what I've done is I've just run jumper cables from these rails here to these set of rails here to make sure that they're all live. So a fairly easy modification, taking the pit lane electronics and putting them into another lane change piece, in this case the digital narrow section, to get a faster pit entry. Thanks for watching.